And we are back on Earth Wisdom Radio. Now about our fabulous guest tonight. We will be speaking with Tolec, a contactee and human representative for the Andromeda Council. In this interview, Tolec will share what he knows about the great transformation of our human species happening at the tail end of 2012 and into 2013. We'll learn about our molecular and cellular transformation into fourth-dimensional human beings, what that means, why it's happening, and what that will literally look like. So before we get into this higher vibrational level of life, a little about Tolec himself. Tolec has an impressive 20-year professional background in the software industry. He first became a contactee in 1993 when he was taken aboard a ship several times and time traveled to the 1840s. Contact then resumed in September 2010 in various forms, one being interdimensional travel to Andromedan biospheres stationed around the Earth. The Andromeda Council has given him vast amounts of information. This council is an intergalactic governance and development body of aligned, benevolent star systems and planets in both the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies. If you'd like to check out his fact-filled website, go to AndromedaCouncil.com. So Tolec, we are honored to have you here at Earth Wisdom Radio. We welcome you. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Great to be here with all three of you.
Well, we're really happy to have you here with us. I thought to, I know you wanted to focus this particular talk because you have done many talks on other shows and encourage our listeners to check those out as well, but you wanted to focus on this talk about what the life in the fourth dimension and why don't we start with the actual transformation of what you see happening to the planet and as well as the human species itself.
Sure. Okay. The planet is on a cycle, and it's been repeating a cycle of change that is manifested by earthquakes and many other events. This has been going on since the birth of the planet. I've learned not only that this cyclical pattern of evolution and change is applicable to this planet, but it was also applicable at the birth of this galaxy, the star systems in this galaxy, and every other single planet. It has its own unique pattern, its own unique pattern and cycle of change and evolution. Those are manifested by earthquakes, volcanoes going off, ley lines. Interesting to note that a lot of the major earthquakes happen on the ley lines as identified around the planet. So we're going to continue to see a lot of earth changes in the form of earthquakes and other things as we progress through this time period of 2012 into 2013. That also includes a 90-degree movement of the Earth's crust. And the best reference that I can give everybody is think of a clock face. We currently look at the Earth from like a 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock or west to east perspective. And right now the crust is moving counterclockwise such that 3 o'clock, if you will, is moving toward straight up 12 noon, 12 midnight, whatever you want to call it. And that will progressively continue to happen. We're also going to experience a shift in the magnetic poles, such that what is currently the North Pole at the top of the globe today will become the South Magnetic Pole. And what is currently the South Magnetic Pole today, that'll move to the top of the globe. So we'll now have sometime in the future, we're going to have the South Pole at the top of the globe and the North Pole at the bottom of the globe.
Oh my gosh!
A whole bunch of things happening. Yeah. They've already reassured me. And they did this quite extensively. They've already reassured me that in terms of the pole change, You know, we may lose power for 3 or 4 hours, but if it goes anywhere beyond that, the people of the Andromeda Council stand ready to step in if it means launching new satellites, if it means repairing satellites, whatever they can do to help with the grid system of the planet, they'll do it. They've already volunteered that help, and they're standing by ready for when that shift happens. And I don't know if any of you have been paying attention, but there have been scientists that have been identifying the migration of the poles shifting just recently, like within the past 2 to 3 weeks. You know, that's happening as we speak. When I was talking about this stuff 6 months ago, I was, you know, kind of ahead of the curve, but it's now happening. So that's it from a broad sense. I'll be happy to answer, you know, any specific questions about any of that.
Okay. Now, can you explain a little bit about the planet's position in relation to the center of our galaxy and how that is, the energy of that is affecting, or is that energy affecting us and causing the cellular changes you speak about?
Okay. Different kind of question. All right. I like to use Earth analogies that people are comfortable with. I'll have everybody think of a pinwheel. You know, as kids, we have pinwheels, and you blow on them, and they spin. Let's see. Our galaxy is shaped very much like a pinwheel, and think of that pinwheel as having spiral arms. Well, we are located. Our solar system and our planet are located at around 7 o'clock on a clock face at the tail end of one of those spiral arms. And, well, I'll keep going. What's happening is our solar system and our galaxy are moving toward and moving into the galactic equatorial plane zone. And this area of the galactic equatorial plane has a high level of magnetic vibrational energy. And it can be actually pretty erratic. People call this area a black hole, for lack of a better description. But the energy is very erratic. It is higher dimensional energy. It is fourth dimensional energy. That's one reason for our solar system and our planet beginning to become fourth dimensional entities. In addition, there's a comet that used to be known as HOLMES, H-O-L-M-E-S 17P as in Peter. Recently that came into our area of space, and it's now known to be the brightest celestial object, if you will, in the heavens. It is emanating fourth dimensional energy and bathing this solar system and this planet in fourth dimensional energy. Hey, there we go.
And we're back with Tolec.
Okay.
We just got knocked off the air. So Tolec, please take it up from where you left off. I'm sure that our listeners were probably listening to you as we lost our feed over here. Go ahead.
Okay. Were you able to hear at least my introduction about the concept of biospheres and tractor beams?
Why don't you start with that?
Okay. The biospheres of the Andromeda Council, they are as small as Pluto. I think there are a couple a little smaller. There are some that are much larger. They are stationed in Earth space and throughout our solar system. They are using what we would think of, at least in scientific and science fiction terms, if you will, as tractor beams, energy beams that can do a lot of things, including slowing the rate of change. And they've told me that for Earth and other planets, but more specifically for Earth, they have used combined tractor beams of biospheres to slow the rate of change of this planet, to slow down the pace of this change, so that as the different plates, the tectonic plates in this planet move, as the Earth's crust move, as other cosmic bodies come into our space, they're doing everything they can to slow the rate of change. That helps minimize the losses of people and lives on this planet. And so that's a good thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Helps with the transition.
Yeah, sure. Hey, they may be fourth dimensional people, but they're still human beings just like we are, and they care about us.
Right.
They care about us, to a great degree. We are the great times 10 grandchildren, cousins, brothers, and sisters of these extraterrestrial people, and we've been on this planet for a long time, and this is our time to evolve. It's the destiny of this planet to evolve.
Right.
So they're doing whatever they can to help us evolve as easy as possible. That's about the best complete answer I can give there.
Right. There's still this interconnection, even across all these dimensions, it seems.
Tolec, Sandra.
Yes.
Sandra, Tolec, I have a question for you about the Native connection, the Native American connection to our star ancestors. Can you discuss with our listeners tonight a little bit about that connection?
I'd be happy to, sure. From what I've learned, primarily from Tonka, who's the ambassador from the planet Dakota, who's also the spiritual ambassador of the Andromeda Council. The planet Dakota is located in the Tegeta star system. The Tegeta star system is, the star itself, Tegeta, is one of 7 stars of what people on this planet would consider the Pleiades constellation. Within the Tegeta star system, there's 4 planets, Pyra, Vela, Dakota, and one other. Forgive me for forgetting, but there's 4 planets. He's from Dakota. I've learned that my own spiritual essence, when I was born, when my soul, when my fourth dimensional spiritual essence was born years and years and years and years ago, that I too am from the planet Dakota, which is why the connection with the ambassador as well as the commander for the biosphere. What he said is that the people from Dakota first came to planet Earth about 100,000 years ago, originally arrived in the area that people today would call Lemuria. It's known by a few names, but generally known as Lemuria.
Mm-hmm.
About 50,000 years after that, they migrated off of the Lemurian continent landmass when they were going through a bunch of upheavals and changes in landmass. And they went to what's now known today as Japan. They went to the China coast. They went to Southeast Asia. And they also went in the other direction to the northwest coast of what we in the U.S. call the U.S. or North America, or as the natives call Turtle Island. They've said that the people west of the Mississippi River in the U.S., in Turtle Island, they are predominantly the people originally from Dakota. They are led by the Dakota with a D, Lakota with an L, and Nakota with an N. They are also the Hopi and a whole bunch of others, but primarily from the Mississippi River and west. I'm not, simply because they haven't asked yet, I'm not aware of who the original indigenous people to North America are and what planet they're from. I don't know. Right now, I just know about the people west of the Mississippi, and those are primarily, again, the descendants of the Dakota people.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, Tolec. Have you heard of the Anishinaabe or the Zuni?
Oh yes. Matter of fact, I myself have some absolutely beautiful turquoise and silver jewelry made by the Zuni, actually passed down by my dad. And the Anishinaabe I've heard of. I don't know of any of their traditions or cultures, but I will say quite honestly that based on everything that I've seen, almost all of the Native American people consider themselves to be ancestors of people from the stars, pretty universally. And they all take great care to pay attention to their spiritual origins. And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking about God per se. They talk about God as in being the great mystery, Wakantanka, source, the creator. I guess the creator is the best way to express that. But when they talk about spirituality, they're talking about their core spiritual essence from when they were born a long time ago. Not the bodies that we're all wearing, not the physical 3D thing that we wear, but who they are as people when they were birthed a long time ago, what their spiritual essence is all about. So they're quite well aware of star people, star ancestors, the importance of the Creator, as well as their own spiritual essence.
Indeed. One last question for you, Tolec.
Sure.
Can you tell me what star systems are comprised of the Andromeda Council, please?
What star systems? Okay. Let's see. Here we go. I'll take it from the top, and since I don't have this memorized, I'll simply go to the second page of the Andromeda Council website. The star systems include Arcturus, Antares, M103, Procyon, Vega, Capella, Polaris, Sirius A, Deneb, Tau Ceti, Alhena, and Betelgeuse. And there is an Andromeda Council ambassador from the home planet of each of those star systems.
Hi, Tolec, and this is Heather, and thank you for sharing that. I have a quick question for you. I want to know, how do you receive this information?
Okay, good question. There are a number of modalities, ways that I receive the information. These days, primarily, it's telepathically. And what that means is, from my mind, my thoughts, to either Tonka, the spiritual ambassador at the Andromeda Council, to Tanya, the vice chairwoman, to the commander of the primary Andromeda Council biosphere. These days, primarily, it's telepathy. It also has to do with, in the dream state, my fourth dimensional spirit form, my fourth dimensional spirit goes from here on Earth up to the Andromeda Council biosphere, and I attend a number of meetings, so I learn a lot of information up there. I also get the information while I'm dreaming in the dream state, as well as snapshot visions. They are quick visual experiences that last about a second to a second and a half, where I'll see something, and then I get a chance to ask about it. There's another form, though it's much less subtle, and it'll come through when I'm writing. And I remember one time I was providing an extensive answer to someone, and I was writing this answer, and at the end of it I said, "And so it shall be." And I went, Wow, that's interesting. I don't speak that way. Well, those words of, and so it shall be, were either coming from them or some form of my higher self. So it's, like I said, I get it in about 4 or 5 different modalities.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because when I had read about the automatic writing process as being one of the ways that you receive the information, I went to myself, what does automatic writing mean? So you just clarified my next question of what that was.
Yeah, it's more subtle.
Through your hands.
Yeah, it's more subtle. It's much more subtle. It's a situation where I'll start writing, and there's a level of intelligence or knowing about something that my third-dimensional brain, not my mind, but my third-dimensional brain wouldn't normally have. So it's coming from a higher source. And like I said, it's much more nuanced. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And just one quick follow-up, because I know Antara's just and has a wonderful question for you. But with this process in the writing, like say you're writing a letter or something, or answering a question, I mean, when you're finished and then you look to what you wrote, do you feel like you were in sort of, would you describe it as sort of, some might say sort of a right-brained state of thinking, like you sort of lost yourself within the own work and then had to go back to read what you wrote, or you feel like you're pretty conscious of it, if that makes any sense? Yeah.
When I'm writing and it's starting to come through like that, I honestly don't analyze what I'm writing when I'm writing it. I've been in the computer industry for a long time, so what I'm trying to say is, me being on a keyboard is a pretty comfortable thing. I'm pretty quick. The fingers are flowing. I'm not one of these guys that does index finger, forefinger, index finger. I'm completely I grew up playing the piano. I'm completely dexterous. I have complete dexterity on a computer keyboard and a laptop, which I use. So I'm not analyzing and thinking about what I'm writing when I'm writing it. The knowledge is just coming through. So it's either knowledge I have, or it's knowledge that's coming from upstairs.
Higher self. Yeah, you know why I was wondering, and I'm just going to mention this, and then I'll turn it over to Antara, because I want to get into this later in the show, is because I see that as a kind of a creative process that's going on, and some people have described being in that process, sort of being in a different state of awareness, whether that's, typing, writing, or just any sort of creative, process, playing the piano, and things just kind of come through. So I want to talk about that later, but that's why I was asking that question, because the process itself, to me, is interesting. So, so Antara, thank you, Tolec. Thank you for answering that.
Oh, sure, my pleasure.
Well, we can just always go in a million directions, but I want to just kind of backtrack a little bit here. Something that came up when you mentioned the biospheres being the size of Pluto, some larger, some smaller. What that made me think of is those videos that are coming, that the different satellites that circle the sun keep showing these strange round ships or orbs or all these ship-like objects coming and going. So would that be in a biosphere, possibly?
Well, all right. This topic has multiple answers, and I've just answered them recently, like within the past 3 or 4 days, on the frequently asked questions page of the website. But I'm happy to do it. I'll take them one at a time. Okay. The sun is not exactly what we think it is. Yes, it's a yellow-white star, for lack of a better description, as we would see it. But it also phases in and out, and it is becoming a higher dimensional celestial body. Right. The first answer. The second answer is that the sun acts as it itself acts as an interdimensional portal or interdimensional gateway. And therefore, there are a lot of interdimensional ships coming into our solar system and exiting out through our sun. That's number 2. Number 3, people have gotten all excited and seen a large sort of, I'm not a mathematician, so forgive me, a large, skinny rectangle taking up about a third of the sun, with the horizontal part being at the bottom of the sun, reaching to the point almost at the top.
Right.
This is an interdimensional portal. Now, it's a really big one, but it's only a portal. It's just a gateway from our solar system space to another place. Are there ships coming through? Yes. Are people seeing ships around the sun? Yes. Last week, there was it looked like a disk or sphere about the size of, I don't know, Jupiter or Saturn, with what seemed to be an umbilical cord attached. At the lower left-hand corner on a clock face, it would look to be about 7 o'clock in location. That was a protected vis-a-vis, I need a sci-fi reference, a force field that was highly protected vis-a-vis a force field, which is why it showed up black. It was a biosphere, and it was specifically there to inject more helium into the sun to do 2 things: to help stabilize in the process of it becoming a more fourth-dimensional, higher vibrational star, and 2, because in order to do that, it needs more helium. It was using helium. It was injecting additional helium to help in the stabilization process. Last topic, and this is all relevant. People have been thinking they've been seeing planets or moons at different parts of our globe. Up at the North Pole, the top of our globe, down at the South Pole, the bottom of our globe, the far west and the far east, if you will, there are scientific space stations that are Andromeda Council flagged biospheres, on loan from Jupiter, I may add, with about 200 plus or minus scientists on each that are monitoring and measuring the rate of change of the sun, as well as the rate of the change and all of the different permutations in between of Earth. They're watching and monitoring and measuring the whole evolution process that's going on right now. So you have essentially 4 Andromeda Council biospheres, good size, from Jupiter on loan with scientists installed that are measuring all these things going on at all 4 corners of the globe, north, south, east, west.
Oh my gosh.
That's my answer.
Oh, that's so rich.
Next. You asked.
You just shoot them down, Tolec.
We asked.
But now, hold on. I have to ask this. We're all chomping at the bit here, sorry. Did you say that they've been seen? They've been, those biospheres at the poles and the 4 corners have been seen?
Yes. Yes. I've had people ask me about, hey, Tolec, what's this ship at the bottom of the South Pole? Hey, Tolec, I'm seeing something on the eastern seaboard of the U.S. It's just on the horizon when the sun comes up in the morning and then it goes away. People from the Arctic, so people are seeing these things.
God.
So they're real.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All of us have so many questions, but the callers are, as you predicted, fairly swamped with questions. And I've got a couple from Facebook that I want to put out here. One is from Ben Seaton Clerk. He wants to know, what is the difference going to 4D and astral projection? Does this mean we have control on what we look like? And his second question, which I think is equally interesting, when we meet the aliens Can we invite them into our homes and have a one-on-one talk about 4D and other things?
Okay. I'm going to answer the second question first, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat the first question because you were breaking up when you asked it.
Okay.
The second question, and I've had somebody ask me a similar question to this, and the question is two parts. Can we go up, and somebody just asked me this again today, can we go up in their biospheres, biospheres with a B, and visit with them, and or would they consider taking us in their scout crafts for a ride? At this moment in time, which means sometime in the very near future when they start visiting, I can tell you pretty strongly and intuitively that you're not likely to go visit with them in the biospheres at this time. It is likely and possible that given the right people that they're talking to, the right awake, aware, warm, kind people that they meet, they may offer rides to people in scout craft. It'll be on a discretionary basis, but it's going to be up to them. You know, you've got people from 4 planets of the Andromeda Council will be visiting around the globe. It's going to be up to each of those crew members and their discretion as to whether they want to give people a ride or not. Go ahead and restate the first question, and I'll be happy to answer.
Sure. What is the difference from going to 4D and astral projection? And does this mean we have control on what we look like?
Okay. Alrighty, here we go. I've been fortunate to meet and have some long conversations with Tanath of the Silver Legion, and her people operate in a multi-layered realm. I think there are like 5 to 6 layers in between what people typically call the astral. So what is the astral is not one realm. It is like 5 or 6 layers, and the astral is kind of like layer number 2 or 3 in the middle. So as a metaphor, you would have like where we are in physical organic 3D.
Right.
The middle 5 or 6 layers, which has astral in the middle of it. After that comes 4D, and then comes 5D. And by the way, each of those layers, 4D and 5D, everything that I've learned from my contacts, my friends, tells me that there are about 12 different gradients, 12 different levels of learning, of experience, 12 different levels of existence in each dimension of being. So the 4th would have 12, the 5th would have 12. But that in-between layer, that's got like 5 or 6, and the astral smack dab in the middle. So when most people do astral traveling, they're going somewhere into that middle realm of those 5 or 6 layers.
Okay.
So then I guess the follow-up piece to that is the 4th is the next official level above that, as I've indicated. I don't know if that completely answers the question, but that's what I've learned.
No, you did. That was clear to me.
Okay,
and
great.
Yes. Sandy, would you care to bring?
Yeah. Actually, I had one more question for Tolec personally. Tolec,
Sure.
This is Sandy. I'm really curious about the governing body of the Andromeda Council. Can you tell our listeners about how that is set up and what positions that they hold?
Well, I understand the first part of your question, which is how is that set up? It is it's an intergalactic and development body, and it's easier. I'm just going to read it from page 2 of aligned benevolent star systems and planets, and that's accurate. Think of it as an intergalactic, which means in between galaxies. It's an intergalactic governance body, very much like a UN. It deals at a high level. It deals with interdimensional. Well, that's true too, because it is interdimensional. There are members of the Andromeda Council, some of which are third dimensional, like Earth human people. There are primarily fourth dimensional and fifth dimensional people that are diplomats and ambassadors to the Andromeda Council, and there are some 6. And much like the UN on Earth doesn't get into the day-to-day business of how the U.S. runs its country or how Canada runs its country. For the most part, the Andromeda Council doesn't get into the governance of each planet. What it does do is act as an intergalactic diplomatic governing body that sets precedents and protocols for how planets who are part of the Andromeda Council, how they will act toward each other, what the general rules and guidelines are of intercultural and intersocietal exchange, what are the rules and guidelines for interplanetary trade and barter of services. Again, think of it as high-level intergalactic, interdimensional UN, United Nations. It's the best description that I can give.
Okay, so what kind of positions do they have there? Like the titles, what do they do?
Oh, is that okay? Well, each of the people from the 12 senior represented membership bodies, they are ambassadors, and there's like a vice ambassador. There's always somebody as a backup to the primary man or woman to the council. And these guys attend Andromeda Council meetings that have to do with the general governance, again, and higher level protocols of the planets that are already part of the council, as well as new planets, and as well as junior planets, because there are actually a lot of planets that are part of the council that aren't listed. They're part of the council, but they're junior members. The ones that are on the website, those are the 12 senior members. But it's all about governance, it's all about protocols, and they have meetings day in and day out about how things are conducted between the different agreeing cooperative races of people and planets. Beyond these guys, there are also a whole bunch of subcommittees, and rather than go through them all, they're all on page 2. The subcommittees are all listed on page 2 of the Andromeda Council website. So people can go look that up. If you want me to spend some time talking about them, I can.
Okay. All right. Well, you just directed everyone to go to the website, so we invite you guys to do that. What we'd love to do is take some chat room questions. Everyone has been just patiently, wonderfully patiently waiting to ask you some of those questions. And with your permission, Tolec, I'd love to start feeding some of those questions to you.
Sure, go ahead. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, outstanding. We have one from Papa Bear. Papa Bear asked, Tolec, do you take donations?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a very kind thought. I have not done that. And I'm no longer the chief operating officer of our firm because by the tail end of last year, I had 2 full-time jobs. Sorry. I had 2 full-time jobs. I was doing that job full-time and this job full-time, and 3 hours of sleep a night wasn't cutting it. So the answer is, so far, I've not yet done that because I have not wanted to have the topic of money enter into any of the work that I've been doing. I may reconsider that, but I'm okay for now. But thanks for the consideration. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Papa Bear, in the chat room. This next one is from Jennifer Baker 4. What are the symptoms of DNA activation or ascending to our 4th dimensional being?
Oh, boy. Gee, let me get out my notepad. Hang on.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Here's what I know, and I'm happy to tell people what I know, and I'm not going to BS my way through the rest of it at all. I'll just give you straight answers. What I know is that for people who choose to want to be activated, who choose to want to be more open to this information, to these concepts, they'll find greater pieces of their essence, their personality, opening up, sometimes exploding open, wanting to know more and more and more. That's one sign of awakening, or, if you will, spiritual awareness. Keep in mind that when I use the word spiritual, I'm talking literal. When I talk about spiritual, I'm talking about for anybody from the fourth dimension up. Those people are, in this case, my Andromeda Council contacts are human. Those people are fine matter essence, fourth dimensional humans, which means they vibrate at a faster rate, which is crystalline based, and it's fine energy matter. It's spirit matter. It's not organic matter like we have in our bodies. So that's honestly what it means to become more spiritual. I digress back to the fourth dimensional question. The process of becoming fourth dimensional is also the process of becoming spiritual. Also, though it is progressive and will continue to be progressive throughout, the 2012-2013 period, all I know and I've learned is that we will each one of us, to the degree that we're able, we will continue to progress, continue to evolve. At that moment, at whatever day in early January 2014, that this solar system and this planet Earth becomes fourth dimensional, it'll be like that. It'll be like the snap of a finger, the blink of an eye, and we will go from vibrating as three-dimensional people to vibrating as fourth-dimensional people. And we will see things on this planet we've never seen before. We'll see a whole range of colors we've never seen before, and that's primarily because we are going to be vibrating at a different rate. We will have the ability to see things we've never seen before because we couldn't see them before as three-dimensional people. That's the complete answer that I have. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know about the nuances of the DNA mechanics in between. I have heard from guys like Nassim Haramein and David Wilcock who have said that if you move DNA in a faster manner, it will transmute and it will change. And it will become more crystalline. You should have seen my face when I heard that said. I was like, wow, cool. These guys just confirmed what I've been learning from the guys upstairs. So I was able to have that confirmed, non-solicited. These guys were giving a talk, and I heard them both say that. So it's good to have what I learned have confirmed by two completely independent sources. So that's as much I know about the scientific nature of our change.
Okay.
End of answer.
All righty. All right. Well, there you go, Jennifer. We have another one here from AK Warrior Hour. How is the Andromeda Council different from the Galactic Federation?
Okay. Three-part answer. And I've already answered part of this, so I'll take the first part really brief. The Andromeda Council, made up of representatives from both the Andromeda galaxy, planets, also to the Andromeda constellation, which we see from Earth, as well as planets in the Milky Way galaxy. The Andromeda Council is a high-level, intergalactic, interdimensional, interstellar governance body, much like the UN. It's all about high-level protocols. It's about conduct. It's about how people treat each other. It's about global protocols regarding trade. Think of it as an intergalactic UN. Short answer. The Galactic Federation, based in the Tau Ceti star system, the best description I can give anybody is think of it as a day-to-day management company for people that own condominiums or people that live in housing developments, where there are HOAs, housing authorities, where there are council people that govern what's going on a day-to-day basis. Who trades with who, how products are shipped back and forth, who can travel from what planet to where, what planetary exploration is like, who will go explore that planet, are they advanced enough to go explore. The Galactic Federation, based in the Tau Ceti star system, the 10th member of the Andromeda Council, is equivalent to a management company. Are they part of the Andromeda Council? Yes, they are the 10th member. So are they part? Yes. Are they equivalent to the Andromeda Council? No, because they are combined 140 star systems and 300 planets, but they still only have one representative seat on the Andromeda Council. They hold the 10th chair, if my memory is right. That's the total answer.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Tolec.
Sure.
We still have some more coming in. Ladies, do you want to take some more chat questions, or you want to go back to your questions? Or
I think you should just keep asking.
Keep going. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go, Tolec. One from Audrey Cormac 1. Audrey Cormac 1 says, when will we unite with those who are stuck in the third dimension, as well after the Procyon? Is that the word, Tolec?
Procyon.
Procyon is done destroying the Reptilians and the Greys on their planets.
No. People don't get this. No. Somebody has misunderstood what I said, so I'll dissect this question. People all of us who live here on Earth today, sometime, I'm going to say within the next month to a month and a half, but I'm going to say this out loud. Here's my disclaimer. Don't quote me. Sometime in the next month and a half, I expect that 2 sets of people will be visiting. First, Ambassador Tanka, then Diplomat Maka, Vice Chairwoman Tanya from the Andromeda Council will visit Earth as an advanced goodwill and liaison team to go scooting around the planet to give people on Earth the heads up as to what they can expect in terms of action and words from the people from the 4 planets of the Andromeda Council visiting. Why will those 3 people do that? Well, because it's a good thing to tell people what to expect. No surprises is a really good thing. And it will get the people of Earth comfortable with meeting people from another planet, and also that people are consistently between like 6'4" and 7'8". They're just taller. In addition, those 3 people, as well as the people from the Andromeda Council, won't be visiting Earth until the final Reptilian undersea base is destroyed. I'll talk a moment about this. I can tell you, in fact, that the stealth Delta Force attack on this base began on March 9th. They broke through on March 16th. It housed thousands of reptilians. It was made of like a wagon wheel hub and spoke configuration, 100-foot tall building in the center, 60 feet in diameter, 10 floors, 3 buildings, each at the end of each spoke, housing thousands of reptilians. Long story short, they spent days and days and days clearing out those buildings. They've transported 8,000 reptilians through a Stargate transport system to a new planet where the rest of their buddies are at the far edge of the universe. And 8,000 of the reptilian support workers, mainly support staff, have been transported to the Andromeda Council biosphere and others for processing and trial. So now that I've said that, the base is pretty much it's empty, and we are waiting for a cosmic/Earth event to trigger the destruction of that undersea base. There are no plans for any of the people from Procyon or the Andromeda Council to attack any reptilian worlds. So the person was confused when they were asking that question. After all this happens, that's when the three people, the advanced team, and that's when people from the 4 planets will be visiting with people of Earth. And like I said, I anticipate a month and a half from now. My intuition tells me that's about when it'll start. That's the whole answer.
Thank you, Tolec. Well, there
Sure.
you go.
I know it's a lot of information, but those are the facts.
Well, why don't we do this real quick? Let's give Tolec a break, and let's take a quick music break, and when we come right back, we'll ask him a little bit more questions that we have over here at Earth Wisdom, and we'll be taking call-in questions from you, our listeners around the world. Coming right back, you are listening to Earth Wisdom Radio. And we are back on Earth Wisdom Radio. Antara and Heather, are you still with us?
We are here. Tolec, are you with us?
I am here.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Tolec. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and let's grab into some of these questions that we have here coming up, and let's get to these callers. They've been waiting so patiently. So let's go over to a caller real quick. Tolec, are you ready?
I'm ready. Go ahead. Fire away.
All right. Caller from area code 405. You're on live with Tolec.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. State your name. Where are you calling in from?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm calling in from Edmond, Oklahoma. Hi, Tolec.
Welcome.
I've been listening to you a lot. I wanted to ask you, you told the story of the Olympians and the... Okay, sorry, I'm listening to the radio at the same time. You told the story of the Olympians and the Titans. Hi, I'm Elizabeth. And I was wondering, you mentioned that the Titans went into their stasis chamber. I know there's been a lot of movies lately about, you know, the Titans and the Wrath of the Titans and all of that.
Yeah.
I just was wondering, what eventually did happen? Did they ever come out of their stasis chamber, or kind of whatever happened with the Titans? Do you know?
I will tell you. I'll tell you what I know. They are still in stasis, so they're down in their ship Hades. When will they wake up? I don't know. The only thing I know is it's supposed to be sometime in the future. On my own volition, because I had a lot of people ask about this, on my own volition, right. I asked the commander of the Andromeda Council, the primary Andromeda Council biosphere. I said, all right, listen, dude, I'm getting a lot of questions about this topic. There are a lot of people who are concerned, really concerned about the Titans waking up and raising hell. No pun intended. I didn't mean to do that. And his answer was, he's like, come on. I'm like, what do you mean, come on? He's like, we just finished taking out a whole bunch of underground bases all across the U.S., undersea bases all across the world. We're about to take out the last undersea base. This was like 3 weeks ago. And he said, right. And you think the Titans are going to be a problem? He's like, the Titans are going to be like 12-year-olds compared to these reptilians that we've had to deal with. He's like, don't worry about it. The Titans are not an issue. I said,
okay.
Okay. I'm like, all right, question answered.
Great.
That was pretty much it. Yeah. He was like very emphatic about it. So that's the answer. Yeah, it's a non-issue. Non-issue.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for answering my question.
My pleasure. You take care.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. That was fun.
All right. We are going to go to area code 646. Area code 646, you're on live with Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York.
Greetings. You have a question for Tolec tonight?
Absolutely, I do. Tolec mentioned about trades, and my question is that about the 4D beings, considering that they don't need much food and their bodies don't need much maintenance, what kinds of goods and services would they need, produce, and provide?
Yeah, well, that's a reasonable question. You're right. Fourth dimensional people, adults, don't need to eat food, but they can, and they enjoy it. It doesn't take a lot of food to re-energize their system because it's supplemental, because they can already generate enough energy to keep themselves going. There are all sorts of planets, senior members as well as junior members of the Andromeda Council, of course, and the Galactic Federation as well, who produce all sorts of products and services, who have all sorts of natural resources. And it's quite honestly, and I don't know exactly one planet from the next, but the best analogy I can give you is, at least here in the United States. Analogy. The states of Pennsylvania and Ohio, for years during the industrial age, were known to produce a lot of coal. So where would coal companies go to dig for coal to use as a source of energy? Pennsylvania and Ohio. But that's not necessarily the case with Montana or Oklahoma or Texas, where they have a lot of natural gas and oil. And in the South, there's natural gas and oil that doesn't get shipped from Louisiana up north because it costs too much money to ship it all the way up. So the same thing can be said where if certain planets have more of one resource than another, they simply barter and they exchange and trade with each other. For the fourth and fifth dimensional planets, do they have technology where they can matter replicate things? Sure, of course, but there's still a need for natural resources. That need doesn't go away.
Got it.
That is my answer.
Thank you very much, Tolec. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Tolec, we're going to keep on taking some calls here. All right, caller from area code 234, you are on live with Tolec. Please state your name, where you're calling in from.
Oh, hi. My name is Shawnee, and I'm calling from Ohio.
Hi there. You got a question for Tolec?
Hi, how are you all? Well, yeah.
Very good.
I got on here about a half an hour ago, so I didn't tune into the whole show, but briefly, I'll just tell you that this past year, through a dream, I believe I had then later on revealed it during doing some research. It's with the Arcadians, okay? And it was a device put over my head to remove fluoride. And when I woke up, there's two beings behind me. And when I woke up, I thought, what did I eat too much toothpaste? I didn't realize what it meant, until just recently. But a friend of mine was telling me that, according to my natal chart, that certain degrees on there indicate that you're a star seed, which I have like 327 degrees. Now I don't know if that's for sure, but I also have a friend of mine who can see my spirit guide, and he was saying that I have a huge blue spirit guide with it's got a huge aura of blue. And I was just wondering, I don't want to go fishing for things, but, all of a sudden this year there's a lot been revealed. Are those signs that possible connections there? Or?
I want to make sure I understand your question.
Okay.
Are you asking if there's a connection between your spirit guide and the color blue?
Exactly. Because at first I had this dream, and then when I looked on the Arcadian, on Edgar Casey's site, it said they have a device that they put over people's heads to take out certain things, And it
sure.
described my two dreams. I don't have dreams like that, ever, all the time. But just that one time it was very vivid, and then later on, like I was telling you about the star seed, examples that you're a star seed is that for the degrees on your planets. Now, have you ever heard of anything like that, or?
By the way, I'm having a hard time. I'm not having a hard time hearing you. I'm having a hard time understanding you because your voice is overmodulated. But are you saying something about a connection between a color and being a star seed and the color blue?
Well, exactly, because they're different. They're all three different things I'm telling you about. They're kind of not connected. But I was just wondering, do we have spirit guides with us from Arcturus or Palladium that are a blue presence,
Well, I think, and I'm only going to answer this question. Sorry, let me try this differently. I'm only able to answer this question really intuitively,
okay.
not in terms of knowledge that my Andromeda Council contacts have shared with me. I believe that from a personal perspective, from person to person, we each have a color that resonates very strongly to each person. I happen to have a very close resonance and affinity for a variety of shades of blue, mostly crystal blue and crystal blue, light colored blue to medium blue. I've always been attracted to those colors. Interestingly enough, I've never thought to ask if there's a connection between my own spiritual awareness and those colors. My other answer is from things that I've passed over, and I'm not saying research, but information I've seen from time to time, it indicates that the higher frequency colors are in the blue, light blue, medium blue, dark blue, purple ranges in terms of being a spiritually aware or spiritually attuned person. So as an example, if you're seeing light blues and medium blues and darker blues and purples or lavenders, then quite possibly you're touching into a higher spiritual vibration as compared to yellow or orange or red. You've now tapped into my total.
Okay.
You've now tapped into my total knowledge of spirituality.
Okay. Well, caller, I hope that was beneficial to you.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You have a great night.
My pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, we're moving on to more callers here. Caller, and area code 514. You're on live with Tolec. Please state your name, where you're calling in from.
Oh, hello. Shantiam. I'm calling from Montreal. My name is Ciela.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Well, actually, my mother tongue is Spanish. In any case, it's really a thrill to be able to talk to Tolec. So salutations from these little Earth people to the great Procyon brothers and sisters and the Andromeda people and the Andromeda Council. So I'm going to try to...
Muchas gracias.
I'm sorry?
Muchas
yeah,
gracias.
the question is, I have actually several questions. First of all, I'd like to know, like humans, we are a genetic project which is ongoing, and I was wondering, I think, according to the information I've been gathering, that the originally Andromeda Council at the point a long time ago gave the authorization for this genetic project to happen, and I think that the people from the Swan or Senior constellation used genetic material from the Orions to start with, which I don't know. I was wondering why the political authorization was given for this kind of genetic project to happen. That's one question.
No, hang on. I'd like to address that question first.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, this question itself has multiple parts. I'll tell you what I know. I know that this planet has been seeded as an SEEDED, has been seeded over hundreds of thousands of years by different spacefaring people that have landed on this planet, stayed, built colonies, and those range from the people in Egypt to all over this planet. If there's no mistake why, as an example, somebody from Europe or somebody from North America, people who've moved here from Europe, are Caucasian, and they look the way they do. There's no mistake why people from Africa look the way they do. That's because we're not all the same race. We come from different parts of the heavens, different parts of the stars. Now, have we been genetically tinkered with? Have we been upgraded from time to time? Sure, I think that's possible, but I'm not an expert on that subject.
Well, for example, I know we...
Hang on. I'm not done.
We have to keep it down to one question. I'm sorry, caller. We have to keep it down to one question because we have so many wonderful callers from around the world on here. Just a compliment to that one. Like, for example, we at the point we had 12 strands of DNA, and they cut 10 strands. Who was responsible for that, And why anyway.
It's a good question. Hang on, this will be your last question, because I think they probably have a couple hundred people online waiting to speak.
Okay.
I'm not an investigator or researcher. My knowledge comes from the questions I ask and from a lot of questions that people ask of me for the council. I am not scientific oriented, and I've not asked about the genetic structure or manipulation of our genes. I just haven't asked, so I honestly don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, could I just one small clarification?
We're done. We got to move on.
We have to go. I'm sorry, caller, but you're so appreciated, and thank you for calling into tonight's show. All right. Moving on to caller in area code 405. You're on live with Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
Hi, this is Molly from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Welcome, Molly. Your question.
I had a question. When we move into fourth dimension, will we understand who we were in our past lifetimes? Will we actually be aware of that?
Yes. Yeah, I've been told that yes quite a few times. You will you'll certainly retain your most recent current life, as well as learning about all your other lives. Yep.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sorry. That's the full answer.
That's great. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, it should be very enlightening for all of us.
Good night, caller. All right, moving on to area code 732. You're on live with Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
Hi, I'm from Chicago. My name is...
Okay. Caller, you're going to have to speak up just a little bit, and if you got your radio on, I'll need you to turn that down just a little bit.
Okay. My name is Andre Komiak, and I have 3 questions for Tolec.
Well, we can only do one question per caller because we got so many. Go ahead and ask your question.
There's always a theory on how the Nazis actually got the technology for their flying saucers. know how they might have gotten further UFO technology?
I need to apologize. What I understood you say was that there is technology acquired from flying saucers. Can you ask me what's the question about that technology?
There's always a theory on how the Nazis got the technology for their flying saucer program.
Nazis. Okay.
So do you have...
Okay, now I understand your question. I have a good friend of mine, Jim Nichols, who is an expert on this topic. He is and has been a UFO and ET fine artist for years, but he's done extensive research on this topic. Matter of fact, he just spoke about it last Saturday. So if you go to, I think it's Jim Nichols, Nichols, Jim Nichols, UFOart.com, and write to him, he could give you a pretty extensive answer about the Nazis and how they acquired UFO technology. It's not an area of expertise of mine, but Jim would be able to help you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, caller. All right, moving on, Tolec. Here we go again. Caller from area code 702. You're on live with Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
Hello?
Hello, caller. You're on live with
Hi.
Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
Hi, this is Steven from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Welcome, Stephen. You got a question?
Hello. Yeah, is there anything else that could keep the Andromeda Council from visiting the world other than making sure the reptilian bases are destroyed?
No, you know what? It's a reasonable question. No, I've quite honestly, I've been reassured, and I'll tell you what. It's in my shoes. I have had to learn an extensive amount of patience because what we consider to be important or crucial regarding timing is not the way that the people in the fourth dimension live, because their today is the same as yesterday, which is the same as tomorrow. So they honestly don't measure, they don't adhere to time. They don't measure time as we would. They track events. They're able to tell me about what's going to happen and when it's going to happen only based on certain events that will take place. So now to answer your question, no, there's nothing preventing them from visiting with us after this last undersea reptilian base taken out. And I am, as everybody is, I'm sure, I'm waiting with bated breath for that final action to destroy the base, and for a whole bunch of communication to go back and forth in terms of scheduling when Diplomat Maka, Vice Chairwoman Tanya, and Ambassador Tonka will start to tour the U.S. and the rest of the world as the Goodwill team to let people know about what's coming. I know it's a longer answer than you expected, but that's the complete answer. Okay?
Oh, thanks. That was great. What a cool.
What's a cote? Take care. Thank you.
All right, Tolec, here we go. We're going to keep on hitting you with these questions. Are you still up for it?
Yeah, keep going. It's all right.
All right, because, our board is lit up right now over here at Earth Wisdom Radio.
3 words. I told you.
Indeed. Area code 913, you're on live with Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
Hi.
Hi, you're on live with Tolec. Please state your name and where you're calling in from.
I'm calling from Kansas City area. I contacted Tolec. Hi, Tolec. This is V333 Meg.
Okay. Hello.
I contacted you about a painting, and I put it up there for you to look at. I have been watching Bob Dean and Clifford Stone. I just loved that interview recently with Carrie Cassidy.
Oh, with Carrie. Yeah. Bob's good people. Yep.
Yeah, and other things like that. And I know I have gotten enough signs to be doing this writing I should be doing about this experience that I had 4D while I was lucid dreaming. In the dream, I got stuck in my throat, and I couldn't join this pulse that was happening and say the things that all these people were saying. I experienced these people, human consciousness coming together in voice and in colors and everything. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do now. Do we have ET help to get us through that, or do we have some kind of process that I'm missing out here?
Here's my intuitional answer. My intuition tells me that if you're having a difficult time voicing what you're learning, that's probably why your spiritual higher-ups, your guides, whoever they are endorsing and suggesting that you write. Maybe the process of starting to write what you've learned will release the energy, because I know even of people who work in sort of like the spirituality, New Age realm, that have always said that the process of writing something will many times release the energy of it. So I think it's a good recommendation. I would start, whatever it is that is, I kind of like feel that it's maybe like a balled up bunch of energy that needs to be released. I believe that they're accurate. Go ahead and start writing, and that process will start to release the energy of what you're feeling. The second part of the answer is, if you want to, you can reach out telepathically. That word, telepathically, to Azar, who's the chief medical officer of all of the biospheres, and simply reach out telepathically. Inform her of what you're going through and ask for her help. And she or some of her people will do some work interdimensionally for you.
Oh, what was the name again? I'm sorry.
Pardon?
What was her name again?
Azar. Think A-Z, as in zebra, A-Z-A-R.
A-Z-A-R. All right, I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Have a good night,
Okay,
Colin.
yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, Heather.
Hi, Tolec. This is Heather calling, and I have a quick question. Calling in because I'm chiming in between all these other wonderful questions and people coming to us tonight. So I'm calling in here at our roundtable. I have a question. So I keep thinking about something that we spoke about earlier in the show, about the writing, about for some reason I still have the piano playing in my head, and I'm thinking about creativity. Can you talk to us tonight and the listeners about creativity and the fourth dimension? How will this dimension affect creativity, and in addition, how will it be manifested?
Okay. To give full justice to this question, it would probably take 17 to 20 minutes of me talking nonstop.
I've been holding on to this question since
I know.
I knew it was going to. It's wonderful. Whatever you can share in a short sentence.
Okay. You know what? Here's what we'll do. I will provide the executive summary bullet point version, and then what I'll do is I'll send you via email, Microsoft Word, the 2-page document, so you can have it for your own knowledge. Here we go.
Wonderful. Go.
People in the fourth dimension today, the people that live in the fourth dimension today, those who are at birth, creatively, artistically inclined, are for the most part not much different than people on Earth today in terms of that natural urging to express themselves. Do they do it? Do they receive formal training also? Can they receive discipline training? Certainly. There are, as an example, and you can read more about it later, but they told me about a man who travels, who's from the Andromeda Galaxy, who will go from biosphere to biosphere, and he will listen to a bunch of requests. He will hear a request given and say, I'll choose that one. And instead of using paints, he will, think of your hands and your fingers as a way to express and release energy and color. He will stand in a room and in free space, paint isn't the right word, but for lack of better expression, he will paint in free space in front of you, in front of everybody, whether it's a scene or a person or the proverbial bowl of fruit. He will create using color, light, and it even has tonal quality, sound. And so when he's done, you would see this artistic expression floating in free space in the middle of this room. When people who are musicians, they are born to a musical calling. For the ones that want to learn how to play musical instruments, they can. The ones that I've heard about include things like a lute or a lyre, like a harp. There are a few stringed instruments, including those. There is an instrument which kind of looks like a French horn, but isn't, and it's made out of a material that's white, kind of wood-looking. They definitely have instruments. There's a drum that's about 2 feet in diameter that they play. And as an example, I'm aware of a band. There's a band that travels from the different biospheres and that plays, if you will, mainstream music for people from a variety of different planets that happen to be working on the biospheres. And they're very talented. And here's the difference. When they're playing those instruments, those instruments don't express sound, not that you would hear it through your ears. They express color and light, but the sound is heard inside people's minds. It's telepathic. They told me about, last one, they told me about a woman who's very well recognized, who also does some traveling. She's actually from the Andromeda Galaxy. She's a soprano, but when she sings, people hear her in their minds. They don't hear her audibly through sound. Yeah. That's the key difference.
Oh, it sounds amazing. I just have one quick thing because I know that we have so many other callers. But so it sounds to me when you're talking about the painting, the expression part itself, that is it interactive, not only just between the artist and whatever it is in itself, but then others to interact with it, because it sounds like it's about color, it's about sound, it's about all these sort of things, an eclectic kaleidoscope, a mixture of this expression. Wonderful. Color, that's all. That's what I need to understand.
Color, sound, light, vibration, and I'm going to anticipate where you were going with this. Can people and do people who like to create fine art together, can they do that? Absolutely. You could have like 3 or 4 people saying, we want to create this, or we want to create an abstract expression of certain colors, certain tones, certain vibrations. Collectively, they can do that as well. And the last thing which you may find interesting is that they actually have sculptures. And you can take fourth dimensional vibratory material and create something. Let's call it a fruit bowl, because that's what artists do first. They can, as an example, they can create a bowl of fruit using fourth dimensional energy and intent and vibration and color. But the really disciplined artists can actually use their mental capabilities to bring it to have physical 3D form. Those people are really, really talented. It takes years of training to do that, but they can actually do that.
Wow. It sounds like just an amazing interactive experience that ignites every one of our senses beyond what our even understanding of that is. So thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. I'll send you the document so you can have it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Sandra?
Take care, Heather.
Let's do these email blasts, Tolec. We got a ton of email blasts coming through on Gmail. We're trying to keep up with everything. Go ahead, Tolec.
Well, yeah, Sandra, before we go to anybody else, I want to turn the table over to you for a moment. Is there anything that you'd like to ask about that you've always been interested in? And, we can talk about it now or any other time, but if it's something that you think people would benefit by hearing about, feel free, ask away.
Okay. Well, first, I'd love to get this email blast because this gentleman had actually sent this email blast over to you from Romania, where it's like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning over there.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's just be my friend. He says, here in Romania, it's about 3, 4 in the morning. He says, I have a question for Tolec, if I may. Does Tolec have any information about Romania and the Carpathian Mountains, which are considered to be the cradle of European civilization, about this eastern part of Europe, where we found artifacts with writing older, or at least 1,000 years, than Sumerian cuneiform? I mean, does Tolec have information from Andromeda Council people about the existence of malefic alien underground bases, bigger or smaller, in the Romanian area? And do these benefit people from Andromeda Council intend to visit quietly this nice place of our wonderful planet too? Thank you,
Okay.
Best Constantine.
Multiple part question. All right, here we go. Okay, multiple part answer. There were people from Romania, Hungary, Croatia, Serbia, and a whole bunch of other countries. It totaled to like 16 or 17 countries that all wrote to me after I did the migration from Dakota story and the Titans and Olympian story, because they wanted to know all about their own people in their unique location. And I had to gently say, this isn't part of my normal work process. I did these two for very specific reasons. And the second part of that specific answer is, it is one of the prime responsibilities of the people from the 4 planets of the Andromeda Council, as they are traveling Earth, to inform the people on a region-by-region basis, to break down the mythologies of who they are, of where they're from, with accurate, tangible history, at least as it's been collected in universal libraries, if you will. It is, again, it's one of their prime responsibilities to do that. So they will do that. Beyond that, I'm aware of Andromeda Council bases. I'm aware of Andromeda Council biospheres and ships. I'm not aware of other people's bases underground. I am aware of the underground and undersea reptilian bases that have been taken out. But any other races, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Okay, thank you, Tolec. Thank you for the question. Sure. All right. One question I do have for you personally, if I can get one in here real quick. What is your thoughts in the nature of time itself?
Okay. I touched on it briefly. Everything that I have learned from my Andromeda Council contacts indicates a few things. Now, I'll give you an example. As an example, let's say that at this very moment in time, if I happen to reach out and ask any of them a question, for a rough approximation, at that moment, they're already 5 days ahead of me, right at that very moment, at minimum. And they use that as kind of an Earth comparison, so I can wrap my humble Earth brain around that concept. Above and beyond that, boy, this is a tough one. It seems that when you get outside of third-dimensional vibration and Earth, that the concept of time goes away. And I was being literal when I said that. Yesterday equals tomorrow, which equals today, which equals last night, which equals tomorrow morning. for them, it's all the same. So much so that they can, as an example, the commander of the Andromeda Council biosphere, he can walk up to his commander station. He's got I'll just call it a device that he looks at. He can look up and down the timeline almost to any period of time. And within about, the 2 to 2.5 week range, pretty accurately nail what's going to happen and when, because at least in the future, it's already happened. And in the past, it's pretty easy. Which is kind of strange for us to even kind of wrap our heads around. But for them, time is a completely different proposition. They don't measure time. They very much exist in the moment. So the best way to think of it is, in this moment, you and I are talking. 3 or 4 moments from now, you may have a meeting to go to. 12 or 15 moments later, you may be taking a walk outside. Those are all individual expressions of what you're doing, and that's all they are. And time has no meaning at all. And that's, so far, that's as much as I've learned. There is a little ribbon that I can wrap around this to say that both from my own experience as well as other people that I know, I can leave here. I'll speak personally. I can leave here, either my physical body or my spiritual essence, and go to an Andromeda Council biosphere and be up there for 2 weeks for meetings, which I've done. And I'm gone Earth time, 12 minutes. Try and wrap your head around that one. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the mechanics of how it works. I just know that when I'm up there, I just keep doing what I'm doing. I got meetings to go to. I got people to meet. I got things to do. And that, like, 2 or 3 weeks have gone by, and I pop in back down here. It's 10 or 12 minutes that's gone by. I don't know how it works. I just know that in the 4th dimension, in the 5th dimension, in the 6th dimension, time doesn't exist. It just doesn't.
Well,
Sandra, I don't know if that helps you or not, but that's the best explanation I can give you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Tolec, as you were saying that, Ms. Antara, as you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, oh, well, that explains how you get so much massive quantities of information, downloaded. Is really, you're spending all the time in the world over there, and then coming back and you've got an incredible amount of information to share. So.
Oh man, yeah, I'm working.
Yeah.
It's hard to compress it in Vista. in just our showtime, that's for sure. It's so
I honestly feel really blessed that we've had 2 hours, because I've actually been able to spend and go into more detail than I usually get a chance. So it's been a blessing. Really has.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I wish we had so much more time. I would really love to hear your experiences in the biosphere, really like to know what it's like to be on there. And let me give you a choice. You can talk a little about that, or you can talk a little about implants. Those are kind of the 2 things. I know that you mentioned about implants, that a large percentage of the population was unknowingly implanted, and that the Andromeda Council is very concerned and is trying to help change that. So up to you. I mean, if you want to go with implants or to describe the biosphere, and then we want to just close out with a couple more questions from our listeners.
Sure. I'll take the implants topic because it's not a fun topic. It's not a nice topic to talk about. But I'll do it in a executive briefs kind of bullet point summary.
Sure.
From what I understand, reptilians from Draco and Hydra, as well as their little gray buddies, have been implanting people to track them for years. The implants are both physical and itty-bitty little teeny things, as well as etheric. And when I say that they're etheric, it means that there are etheric fourth-dimensional implants that they have put into people's spiritual bodies, people's spiritual essence forms. And the spiritual essence form implants can and will be removed by Azar's team on the primary Andromeda Council biosphere, as well as 6 other biospheres which are dedicated to psychological, spiritual in terms of energy, adjustment and healing, because there are going to be a lot of people who are going to need some help through this transition. There will also be psychological and emotional counselors to help people through what for some people will be vast change. You know, it's so outside of their paradigm that they couldn't even consider what kind of life they're going to be entering. So both from an implant perspective as well as from a normal helping perspective, there will be people on the healthcare medical biospheres with sound, light, energy, vibrational technology to help heal people, including to eradicate implants. Doctors on this planet, there's a guy by the name of, oh boy, I forgot his name, sorry. Well, there's a guy who's been removing physical implants. That's happening today already. The biospheres, pretty amazing places. I can tell you about the one that is the primary Andromeda Council biosphere. There are 12. This one's about the size of Pluto. It has 26 floors. It has what any of us would consider to be like large municipal parks. Maybe like, think of a Central Park in New York City, but even bigger. Streams, lakes, ponds for people to swim in. They do. There are walking tracks. There are very gentle vegetarian animals like deer and rabbits and other critters like deer and rabbits that graze there. They simulate the sun rising and falling. There are celestial observatories both at the top of the biosphere and at the bottom. There are housing quarters for people that are third-dimensional physical like us, 4th, 5th, 6th. I don't think 7th, but certainly there are at least 3 musical auditoriums for concerts. There is an amazing university there, and on and on and on and on. This biosphere will hold 2 million people at full capacity, and it can certainly hold more, but it'll hold 2 million people. Yeah, 2 million people at full capacity. There are 15 executive officers, the commander as well as his executive staff. There's a head of engineering. There's also 50,000 crew members and their families. Right now, that's the only people that are on the Andromeda Council biosphere. It and others will be used for transportation, shuttling of people, healing of people, et cetera, as this evolution and transformation for the planet takes place. Next question.
Yeah, you answered both. I love it. Thank you, Tolec. So, Sandra, why don't you take us out with some more questions?
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Let's go over to the email blast. We're going over to the Earth Wisdom email blast. This is from George. George asks, Tolec, do the people of the Andromeda Council have movies or video games or the like? And he wanted to throw a quick one also in there. Does Tolec know why some people are saying, whoa? Okay, well, just skip over that one. Let's just answer that first one.
Sure. Quite honestly, I'm not a video game buff, so I haven't asked. But I do know that they meaning for the university that's there and for the guys that are engineering-oriented, technology-oriented, the ones that want to go into outer space travel. And for, our words would be to be an astronaut. There is a technology, engineering, navigation, piloting program available for guys and women who want to take part in outer space travel. Yes, of course they utilize fourth-dimensional holographic technology to create whatever simulations they want. Absolutely. And they practice. They practice in those simulations. Next caller, next question. Go.
All right. Let's go ahead and, I guess, take one more question here. Go ahead, Antara. You have one from the email blast? Antara?
Sorry, I did the mute thing.
Okay,
there's a question from Zuri that wants to know if you could talk more about the fourth dimension and, what will it be like? So that's probably a good way to close because, that's kind of what we wanted to start talking about.
Okay. Boy, I'll tell you, there's so much. Okay, here's the executive summary version. We will be taller and lighter. I'll use an example. A man who is 5 feet 10 today will probably be about 7'2". If he weighs today about 155 or 160 pounds, he'll weigh maybe 12 or 13 pounds, maybe 14 pounds. As a fourth dimensional human being, your body will be composed of crystalline cells and molecules. Your body will not be organic. You will live not to 75 or 80. The best birth expression of years that I can give you is you'll live to be 8,000, 10,000 years old as a fourth dimensional person. And if you've gotten to the point where you feel you've contributed to enough to society, to the people you live with, you can decide to migrate and choose a whole new set of experiences as a fifth dimensional person. You don't die when you become fifth dimensional. You just make a conscious choice to evolve and step up in vibration to becoming a fifth dimensional person. The best thing, not best, but one of the most interesting things that I can share that I've learned is that fourth dimensional people, when a man and woman want to decide to have a child, they actually stand opposite of each other and using all of the most gentle love they can bring together, they reach their hands out and consciously form the desire to form a child, a beautiful child. And there is like a 6-inch energy ball that will descend from above them. They drop their hands down into a bowl, and over about 20 to 25 minutes, that ball of energy will form into what looks like a 6-month-old baby, but it'll be a brand new fourth dimensional boy or girl. And it's a beautiful experience. That's how people create children in the fourth dimension.
Wow.
So that's I see we're at the 8 o'clock mark, or whatever time it is where you are.
We are like down to the last minutes here. Time has absolutely just flown by. And Tolec, thank you so much for coming on Earth Wisdom Radio. I thank you on behalf of my co-host, Heather and Antara, and we'd love to have you back for part 2.
So we will do it again sometime, absolutely.
All right, thank you, Tolec. And to everybody out there.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tolec.
Thanks, ladies.
And everyone out there, thank you for tuning in to Earth Wisdom. And Antara, you had some final words real quick?
Sure. We'd like to take a quick moment to honor and thank Heather Caton from the bottom of our hearts for doing a stellar job co-hosting Earth Wisdom Radio for over a year with us. She has been a brilliant light, a joy to work with, and Sandra and I wish her well with all her new endeavors with World Genesis Foundation. And so, as you could probably surmise, this is her final show.
Real quick, Heather, I just want to...
Thank you.
Real quick.
Okay.
Heather, it's been wonderful getting to know you. You've been a tremendous light, a wonderful confidant and friend. Thank you from our hearts to yours for all you give. on this journey that you're leading us tonight. I hope that the circle will grace us once again to connect. And, we're giving you a big virtual hug, and you're very loved, and we welcome you back to your Earth Wisdom family, keeping the light on for you. Heather.
Wonderful. Thank you. I have a lot to say, so I'm going to sum it up in a few words. It's just been a pleasure, an opportunity, and a journey. Tolec, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of, I know, my co-host's heart. This show has been very special for me, for them, and I know for all our listeners. So thank you so much. I hold all of you with such high regard, and I'm wishing everyone the best.
You're very, very sweet and very kind. Thank you, Heather. And good luck. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tolec. Thank you, Heather. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.